Hello everyone, my name's Tanya Pitchford and I'm a newbie funeral celebrant, qualified in April this year. Okay, so little background, why did I choose the APC anyway? Sadly, my auntie died at the end of last year, and I was lucky enough, or we as a family were lucky enough to have Tess Sheehy officiate at the service, and unsurprisingly, of course, Tess was brilliant. So I thought, right, if I'm going to do this, I best train with whoever Tess trained with, because clearly they did a really good job there. So hence that led me to the APC, and obviously I spoke to Stuart and I explored the website. And if I'm honest, I was very, very impressed by what it was offering as a comprehensive package, both with the training and after. If I'm being completely honest, slightly sceptical if it would live up to expectations post-course. Happy to say I was very much proved wrong, as I'm sure some of you already know. One of the things, I guess, as well, that really, really reassured me is I am in this career because I want to be a celebrant. The business side is something that interests me, but the actual idea of designing things like websites and that kind of technical thing leaves me cold. I love learning, but that just does not interest me, and I think it's fairly obvious to me that I get quite bamboozled, to be honest, even by the jargon that's used if you go to these self-build sites. So for me, even though it was an extra cost, I knew that I was going to purchase that package on top, because for me it was worth it, because it let me kickstart my business without having this massive barrier to producing things that I thought perhaps I wasn't going to be able to do very well. So Stuart, absolutely brilliant at communicating, as we always know, and sent me a very clear, concise list detailing what he needed from me. I think it's fair to say I probably bombarded him a little bit with detail, so sorry about that, Stuart. But Stuart is the utter professional and has skills that, are amazing when it comes to web design. I don't know what I was expecting. I just knew it would be better than anything I could do. I wasn't prepared for the end result. I mean, I was truly stunned. I mean, it had things on there like moving pictures. It was worded beautifully and easy to navigate. In a word, it looked professional. And Stuart had been really patient. He'd tweaked bits that I'd needed tweaking until I was completely happy with it. I have to say, that's the point, probably in this journey, the very first point that I felt like a professional celebrant, given I hadn't even done a service yet. So all I can say is, if you are like me and this kind of technical expertise isn't your thing, and you're kind of wondering, oh yes, but I don't think I'll be able to do all that, so I don't want to invest, it's too expensive. All I can say is, for me, it was worth the investment, just to take that weight off my shoulder, to take that barrier away. So that's a kind of paid for extra that they offer, which I was delighted by, to be fair. But if you've done the training, you will know that there are multitudes of varying kinds of support already included in the package that you paid for when you took on your training. I'm sure everyone got that wonderful memory stick, which is literally jam-packed with so much useful content. It's almost overwhelming how much there is and how generous people have been to share their expertise, materials they've made. There's everything on there. There's things to help you practically on the business side. So maybe it's a form template. The lovely thing is that they're editable. So you could use it exactly as it is, or you can tweak it so that it fits you. But it's there. It's a starting point. It's something to get you started in the process. And then, of course, there is just an absolute wealth of material on how to find the right words for communicating with people in the industry, for how to craft your service in a unique and meaningful way. There's literally just too much for me to list on there. All I can say is if you haven't looked at it yet, absolutely just grab yourself a cup of tea, spend some time just even having a kind of skim through everything, just so you get a feel. I am still delving in and using it now. It's a very, very effective comfort blanket for somebody just starting up. So that's the vault on the memory stick. Definitely take a look if you haven't. The next service that was offered was mentoring sessions one-to-one. And I had decided that once I got to the point where I was putting together my actual pack to take and share with funeral directors, I would book my one-to-one mentoring with Stuart. I would guess I was feeling a little anxious because I'm getting to that point now where it was the bit that I was dreading, the actual having to go and sell myself somewhere. So I really wanted to make sure I'd crossed the I's and crossed the T's and dotted the I's, so to speak. So it was really useful to talk it all through with Stuart and to get his advice as to anything that I might need to include that I'd not put in, or maybe, word slightly differently. And as a bonus, of course, Stuart has this air of calm confidence, which he kind of like imbues to whoever talks to him. And I left those conversations knowing that I'd been able to ask questions that perhaps I hadn't even considered when I was on training, but had come up as part of the process, and that nothing was silly. And I actually came away feeling confident, which was an added bonus to the session. So again, you may think, some of you may not need it, may not be that kind of person, you're quite happy to go and get on with things, but honestly, I can totally recommend that session with Stuart. I will be sharing my eulogy, my tribute with him before I send it to a client, because I value his opinion and his expertise, and I know that if he says it's okay, then I will feel confident going into that service. So that was one of my mentoring sessions. I also had some mentoring sessions with Tess more recently, Tess Sheehy. If you need somebody to give you a pep talk in those moments when you're having doubt, Tess is definitely the woman for it. I was at that point of going around to visit the funeral directors, but I'd had quite a big gap because of personal circumstances and then going on holiday between talking to Stuart and actually putting those things into action. So I kind of could feel myself feeling that confidence ebbing away, and so I decided to take Tess up on her offer of a mentoring session. And it was very much around the initial phone call to funeral directors and the actual meeting itself. And again, I use this word again, Tess was so generous, sharing her stories, her words, her expertise, that I came away feeling like not only was this a natural feeling to feel actually really terrified of doing this, then that it was something that a lot of people, everybody probably feels, and there's no way going around it or over it or under it. You've got to go through it. So I basically put my big girl pants on and went for it, and I had a booking with a funeral director. First one, fair to say, not at all what I was expecting. And the final parting words, although after 2 hours of me not talking very much, to be fair, I was left with the pearl of wisdom that really the best thing you can do is get in a funeral for a friend, which I thought, well, I don't really feel comfortable putting an advert out on Facebook. And I don't have any friends that I know of that are planning to die right now, so what am I supposed to do with that? It felt impossible. So my confidence took an absolute nosedive. As I say, it's from my first one. So had another one booked for the next day, which I was absolutely dreading. So another call with Tess, who not only came up with solutions, but also said that's quite a common thing. We had a giggle about it, and she kind of put forward solutions that if, we find this is a stumbling block and it was a Coventry thing, then there were ways around it we could look into. So I came away and the pressure was off. The result, completely different experience at the next one, and all positive, and it just shows sometimes a pep talk is definitely what you need to keep going. So yes, I can totally recommend having a one-to-one either with Tess or Stuart. Trouble is, there is so much to talk about. Podcasts, yes, absolutely love them. They're like little bite-sized pieces of CPD. Again, multitude of topics. I've literally just listened to the one that tested with Danny, the funeral manager, and I love them because you can just tap into them and get pearls of wisdom, confidence, new insights. They're just great, and they're accessible because they fit into your life. You can, you don't have to have committed to being there at a certain time. You can fit it in when you're ready. So if you haven't had a chance to look at the podcasts, and there are many, please go and have a look at those. Likewise, there is lots of CPD. That's on my to-do list. There are things that I would like to do. I just literally haven't had a chance to access them yet, time-wise. But looking forward to it when I do. And then there is finally, I was a little bit sceptical about this one, I have to be honest, but I am somebody who likes to feel part of a working team. I love that you can go to somebody for advice, you can learn from their experience, and you can just have a chin wag, and sometimes you just can have a chuckle, or whatever it is that you need. There's that kind of network around you who want you to succeed. So I decided I would give it a go. I have to say, it is absolutely fantastic. You can ask questions, and again, that word generous. People are so generous in sharing their solutions, experiences, ideas, and it's there. You literally almost get an instant response from somebody. I mean, I love the beautiful poems that people have shared when somebody has come across a service that's a little bit unique and hasn't, been one that they've done before. It's like having this virtual encyclopedia that you can tap into. It's lovely. But the other thing that I didn't realise it would help me with was the fact that everybody on it is at a different part in their journey. And so there will be people that are slightly ahead of you, that have been through whatever you are going through at this particular time. And there will be people that are just coming through that you can, hopefully support. Well, knowing that there are other people that are actually have felt the way you have and are, and that it has come good. They didn't mess up. You didn't mess up. It wasn't something you didn't do or didn't say. It just was a question of waiting for the right service to come along. So, yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Hope this has helped in some way. And just to sum up, really, we all know that the training is second to none. But for me, what makes this the APC gold standard is that they totally lived up and exceeded my expectations in terms of the post-course support. I don't know how they do it, quite frankly, but I'm really glad they do. Anyway, have a good one. Take care. Bye.